You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
A part of the issue with Sanders is by calling himself a socialist, that language will turn off voters, and that actually doesn't help him. Your thoughts?
I would agree that nomenclature is a problem here because there's been such a demonization and such a connection of the word socialism to communism in old world Russia or Cuba, and it's sort of a long history about how we associate that word. And what Bernie Sanders is actually talking about is the collective socialism that you see in countries like France or Canada or Sweden, all countries that we would admit are capitalistic countries that have socialistic safety nets, if you will. And we also have that here. We have a socialistic safety net, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. A lot of our programs are socialistic. We don't necessarily call them that, but that's what they are. What Bernie is saying is that our systems are ineffective and insufficient. That is what he's running on, that our safety net has got too many holes, and the holes let too many fishes through. And that's really why he's so threatening to the right. That is why he's such a danger, is because he is challenging the notion that the operation of government ought to be making wealthy people wealthier. He thinks that the operation of government ought to be taking care of the overwhelming majority of people so that they can be both happy and productive, which drives our economy forward. So I think it's just nomenclature more than anything.
Avis, go right ahead.
You know, I do think that, as was said, nomenclature matters. However, the reality is that the way politics is done in this country, he would have been labeled something. You know, we have a long history of how this game is played. He would have been called a liberal, and then liberals would have been demonized. He's going to be, he's held on to this socialist democratic label for years. That's who he is. He holds it proudly. We do need a civics lesson, broadly speaking, in this nation so people can understand the difference between social democracies and actually a system that is more like Russia, ironically. It's interesting to me to have people who want to say that Bernie Sanders or anyone who subscribes to a social democratic system is, in fact, along that spectrum where they're not just social democracies, but they're actually a communist nation, when you have a president of the United States whose best friend is the president of a communist nation. So it's really quite interesting to me. You know, I'm not a Bernie fan, but this idea of using this that particular attack against him and sort of conflating that with communism, when, you know, Papa Putin is the person that Donald Trump bows to every step of the way, I find to be beyond ironic.
Christian Lamar, first of all, a lot of people say that Donald Trump would love to run against Bernie Sanders because of that socialist label. Agree or disagree?
I agree. I think he definitely does want to be able to contrast the differences between a capitalist country and a socialist country. All we have to do is look at Venezuela. Venezuela is in ruins right now. Even look at the so-called Canada, their system of the way they do their health care, and their health care is not doing too well because they're relying on a socialist policy, a democracy. And I mean, America's a republic. We're a representative republic. We're not a democracy, even though many leaders say democracy over and over and over and over and over again. Article 4, Section 4 says we are a Republican form of government, as well as 4 U.S.C. Section 4 contains the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the United States of America and to the Republic for which it stands. So we will never be a socialist country. We will never be a communist country.
Well, it's interesting you talk about Canadian health care. First of all, their health care ranks better than the United States when it comes to infant mortality and life expectancy. And in fact, the Canadian healthcare system scores higher among Canadians than the American healthcare system scores among Americans. And so that's just in terms of what the data there also shows, according to a Wharton study there.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.